Hey guys, this is James with RogueDuelist Trade, and on this channel we talk about current and upcoming Yu-Gi-Oh product and whether or not you should invest your money in order to profit. We just hit over 5,000 subscribers on RogueDuelist Trade. First off, I want to thank every single one of you guys that are a subscriber to this channel or going to be a subscriber to this channel, and appreciate all of the amazing support that you guys have been giving me over these past several months. I started this channel in late January, early February of 2020, and the feedback that I've gotten has been absolutely amazing. Many of you guys have given me constructive feedback, and I've been doing my very best to try and continue bettering this channel every single video that comes out. So thank you guys. If it wasn't for you and for many of you guys believing in me, we wouldn't be here today. Now, in celebration of hitting 5,000 subscribers, we are going to do a Q&A in today's video. I had many of you guys ask me questions on Twitter. I'm going to be going over several of those questions in today's video and giving you guys my response. I figured this would be a fun way to interact with you guys in a different way and even know me more at a personal level. But we are also going to be doing a giveaway on today's video, and I'm very excited about this. I'm going to be giving away one sealed unlimited box of Legendary Duelist Magical Hero. Right now, this is sitting at about $80 per box. I cracked open my case and I have not opened a single one, so you guys are just getting one random display box from my case. I'll also be giving away 6 first edition Rise of the Duelist packs. Now, these are mapped, but even the mapped packs are going anywhere between $3 to $8 a pack. I'm going to be giving 2 away to 3 different subscribers. So there's going to be a total of 4 prizes that you could potentially win. 1 being the Magical Hero box and 3 being 2 packs of first edition mapped Rise of the Duelist. In order to get instructions on the giveaway in today's video, keep watching and I'll provide instructions later on. Now, before we jump in, I recently made an appearance on a podcast called Morning Brew, and you can find that podcast on the YouTube channel Daniel James Media. If you guys would like to learn why I started RogueDuelist Trade, why I got into Yu-Gi-Oh vending, Daniel James Media is focused on investing and making other general side stream revenues. So if you guys would like to see that video podcast and also get other great general investing content, I'll have the link down in the description below. And also, if you guys didn't know, I started a Yu-Gi-Oh skit channel called RogueDuelist TV. Put out roughly 2 skits every single week, and we hit 500 subscribers on RogueDuelist TV. I want to get us to 1,000 subscribers, and if we do that, we'll do a similar video and giveaway on RogueDuelist TV. So definitely go subscribe to me there. Lastly, if you guys want to get Yu-Gi-Oh product at near wholesale rates and get product ratios for upcoming Yu-Gi-Oh product before their release, check out my Patreon in partnership with Pro Play Games, and you guys will be able to get all of that there. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and jump into our first question on Twitter. Our first question comes from Ensign Mendoza, and his question is, I'm a new vendor and I was wondering if you have any tips or advice for selling Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I want to sell successfully, but I'm uncertain on how to start. Anything would be helpful, thanks. One great place to start is I started a series on this YouTube channel called Vendor Tips. I'll have the playlist popping above my head right now if you want to go check that out. But really quick, I'll cover some easy basics. One, I would say know your cost. Have a good source where you're actually getting your Yu-Gi-Oh product from. Make sure you get as best value as you possibly can in your purchase so then you can increase your margins. Also, make sure you understand what your potential shipping costs will be on average, and make sure you understand the fees that you're going to pay through platforms like TCG Player, eBay, and even Card Market. Next point is be prepared. I would make sure that you have all of your envelopes, stamps, top loaders, penny sleeves, anything that you would need to actually ship out that product. Make sure you have those things on hand as you're ready to launch your storefront on any of the platforms. I have some links down in the description below. I always have them there. I have things for like top loaders, envelopes, all the stuff that I use. If you want to get going, that's a great place to start. Third would be know your income. I would recommend having a separate bank account that you have all of your money being transferred to every single time you're making a sale. It's good to be organized and really understand how much money is going in and out of your business in particular, separated from your personal income and expenses. Next would be know the market, and that's why this channel exists, is to help give you guys as much detail as possible that I'm able to give you to understand product that's coming. But make sure you do your own research. Make sure you're understanding the meta to a level, or at least the market, to understand what's going to be high demand and what might be a flop. Most of the time, you're not going to know all the cards coming in the set. And lastly would just be start. Start a TCG Player account, an eBay account, a Card Market account, or any other platform that you may want to sell on. Make sure you get started. Start putting some of your inventory up. You may have to cut your cost down a little bit just to be able to get sales and build up your customer feedback. So you'll have more people see you as a trusted vendor and buy from you as you get more product and singles in on your inventory. Next question comes comes from Chris Sekic, and his question is, would you play Drytron? I would play Drytron. I think he's probably saying that because I mentioned Drytron in my video where I said there is a chance for Genesis Impact possibly perform better than expected. Drytron's a very unique archetype. The only issue is that it may be highly meta relevant once it comes in. So if that does happen, that means down the road, maybe from a few ban lists from now, there might be cards that get limited, semi-limited, or even banned based on how rampant this deck becomes if it actually does come into the meta. So I am kind of cheap when it comes to buying personal Yu-Gi-Oh cards for myself, and because of that, I don't like the idea of investing into an archetype that might be up for multiple reprints or having the potential to get cards that are banned or limited. I don't like knowing I'm going to buy cards that are going to devalue, because a lot of these Drytron cards will be reprinted within 12 months time more than likely. Next question is from Logan, and his question is, when starting investing, is it best to buy sealed product or to market watch single cards? Honestly, I think it really depends, because both of them requires research and time. If you're buying and flipping sealed product, it's far less risky because you can more anticipate what the cost is going to be. And it does require a lot less time because you don't have to break it open, sort it, and go through all of that. Now, if you're buying sealed product and cracking it open and selling singles, just take into account the amount of time it takes to open and sort and ship out your sales. But margins are typically higher depending on how well a product performs. Now, if you do that, it really does require more capital because you really are gambling if you're just buying displays or maybe even one case. You want to buy several cases because it lowers your risk, because you start beating ratios, you start seeing more money cards, and you are more than likely to profit if a set is performing fairly well. Now, buying and flipping singles, so if you're watching channels like House of Champs or MCold40 and you're trying to see what cards you want to invest in, it's obviously an easier market to enter because it doesn't require as much upfront capital if you're buying sealed product, but it does require a great deal of confidence in the market and the cards that you're buying into. I've seen some success and I've seen some unsuccess. It's really kind of like a hit or miss, and I think it really just takes experience to really start understanding and seeing patterns in the market. And even though there might be patterns, sometimes that doesn't matter, and sometimes you'll be thrown a curveball. I would say with flipping singles, even if you're buying sealed and you might want to hold some of the cards that you open, timing is everything. Cards will get reprinted, and sometimes there's cards that you don't anticipate to have reprints, but they do get reprinted. Or ban lists come, or other archetypes come in and become meta, and other archetypes are no longer meta. It really is fairly high risk depending on how many cards you're buying into, and really if you want to see a good amount of income, you want to buy cards that are probably above the $10-ish range and are highest rarity. And there's definitely less risk on cards that haven't had reprints yet, but in order to see a higher return, you really have to pay a lot. So sometimes it does require a higher capital. But in summary, I would say try both. And if you don't have a lot of capital, buy in on cards that are more like penny stocks and cards that you feel might go up in value, just to start to get a feel of the market. And then as you start getting more of a level of confidence, you can start putting more and more money into certain singles that you feel have good potential to go up in value. Next question comes from Eric, 27th Street Capital. Eric said, hey, question, what about investing in vintage TCG in other languages other than English? English, of course, has a premium, but maybe nice to know the ranking of language premium. So what would be that ranking? My guess would be 1 English, 2 German, 3 Spanish. Unfortunately, I don't really have a lot of input here. I don't know a ton about the vintage market, especially different languages within the vintage market, what performs well and what doesn't. Highly recommend to check out Solemn YuGiOh. I feel this would probably be a great topic for him to cover in one of his videos if he hasn't done so already. From my perspective and not knowing a lot about it, I would probably take the same assumption as you, Eric, because you want to go based on where's the highest demand. The English market obviously has the highest market, and then I would probably say German and Spanish would be the second and third in that order. So wherever there's highest demand, there's more people that are wanting to get those types of cards, especially people that grew up to where it's part of their childhood and they have nostalgia tied to it. They probably want to have it in their language. So I would definitely say German and Spanish seems like a nice place to go. Now, what's a good price and what's not and what has more potential, I can't really tell you. I definitely don't want to steer you in the wrong direction. Next question comes from Isaiah Richardson, and interestingly has another vintage question. What do you think about investing in old sets of Yu-Gi-Oh, especially first edition sets like Metal Raiders? So again, another great question for Solemn YuGiOh, but I do agree with Solemn's perspective that I've seen in his videos that there is likely going to be further booms within Yu-Gi-Oh, fairly similar to probably what we've been seeing in Pokemon. Solemn has covered that there's large investors like Gary Vee, who has a very big social media following, and he has said himself that Yu-Gi-Oh is highly underrated and will likely be seeing future boom similar to like a Pokemon. Yu-Gi-Oh has seen a very steady growth, which does give you a level of confidence in Yu-Gi-Oh as a collectible market. So because more and more investors are getting into Yu-Gi-Oh and more people that played Yu-Gi-Oh back in early 2000s are now starting to hit their late 20s, mid 30s, and later they're going to end up being in their 40s. When they have more disposable income and they want to be able to get those cards that they remember from their childhood, the value of those cards will continue to go up, especially as pristine conditions of those cards are harder and harder to get. So with that said, sealed product like Metal Raiders, especially first edition, that had cards like Solemn Judgment, Summon Skull, Magician of Faith, Time Wizard, Heavy Storm, Mirror Force, all of the Gate Guardians. There's a ton of nostalgia in that set. So if I were you, if you were interested in buying sealed vintage product, I would probably look at what are the PSA 9 and 10 gradings for a lot of cards within Metal Raiders, because Metal Raiders right now is like $8,000 for a sealed display. Now, if you feel the likelihood of you being able to make your value back based on the PSA 9s and 10s values within this set, but I would also say whether you keep it sealed or open it, you have to be willing to wait the long game. I wouldn't do it as a quick flip. I don't think that's what the vintage market's about. All right, guys, giveaway time. Before I get into the remaining questions from this video, this is how you guys can be part of this giveaway and have a chance of either getting a magical hero box or 2 out of 6 of my Rise of the Duelist mapped first edition packs. First, you have to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Now, if you don't have all 3, that's okay. Just follow me where you can. And also make sure you are a subscriber to this channel. Next step would be send me a direct message on any of the social media platforms that you followed me on and let me know your account name that you use on YouTube. Then the final step would be leaving me a comment down below. Let me know what social media platform you messaged me on and let me know why you choose to subscribe to RogueDuelist Trade. It can be short, long, doesn't matter. So again, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Send me a direct message on one of those platforms and let me know your account name on YouTube. And lastly, leave me a comment down below. Let me know which platform you messaged me on, and also let me know why you subscribe to RogueDuelist Trade. I will be picking a total of 4 winners. Again, 1 of them will get the Magical Hero box, and 3 of them will get 2 mapped first edition Rise of the Duelist packs. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the remaining questions for our Q&A video. Next question comes from Lubricated Sword, and his question is, has vending affected how you play Yu-Gi-Oh? Also, what deck or decks do you like to play? So first off, I like to play Heroes and Sky Strikers. Those are 2 decks that I've put more time and effort into building, and I do like to build more like rogue strategies. And vending has definitely changed the way that I play Yu-Gi-Oh personally. So as you can tell, I don't really play any decks that are necessarily meta. Sky Striker was in the past, but it isn't now, and that was the time that I decided to buy into Sky Striker was when it became more of a rogue strategy. And the reason why is because usually the better meta decks are likely going to be seeing a lot of reprints and are likely going to be candidates for a future ban list. And that is going to greatly devalue cards, especially reprints, because as they get reprinted, or if they can't even be played anymore because they're banned, their value just drops like a rock. And I don't like the idea of buying into cards that I want to play and then they immediately lose value, or I might have to go buy the next meta deck. I'd rather just play a rogue deck and try to make it as competitive as possible versus just throwing all my money away. And that's really just the perspective I have from starting vending, because I want to be making a return. All right, next question is from Tony. He said, congrats, I love this channel and content. It's so funny and showed me a lot about selling and buying. I do it only for fun and I guess the rush, LOL, but I've learned a lot from you. And I guess my question would be, what would you say to help someone in my position who buys and sells for fun? So that's kind of a tough one. I would say it depends on what your goals are and what you're trying to do. So really, you have to be committed if you want to be making a larger amount of revenue in buying and selling Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Now, if you're doing it for fun and you're okay to spend a bunch of time opening and sorting, even if it's a few displays or maybe even a case, just to make $10, $50, maybe $100, $150, whatever it is, depends on how much you buy. If you just enjoy opening a ton of product and then you're just hoping to at least make your money back, then I would just say that's perfectly up to you. I would say even if you're doing it for fun, it's better to do pre-orders. Get your costs down as much as possible, so then it's easier for you to make up the money that you spent and at least break even. Probably the best recommendation I can give. Next question is from Zero Laser, and his question is, which is your favorite Yu-Gi-Oh format and why? That's actually a good question. I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh in early 2000s when I was like a kid. I was like 7 or 8 years old or something like that, and I played with my brothers. So I played through about GOAT format, maybe till like 2006 or something like that. And then I didn't really get back into Yu-Gi-Oh more seriously until late 2018. So I've really only seen a few formats, really like GOAT-ish format in the early parts of Yu-Gi-Oh up till 2018 to modern Yu-Gi-Oh today. I would probably say, especially after watching Simo's progression series and History of Yu-Gi-Oh series, I would say like more around the time frame of GOAT format. There's a lot of different directions that you could go with playing Yu-Gi-Oh to be competitive, and it was far more interactive. It was very rare to OTK your opponent in one turn. It wasn't really the time of where like you don't let your opponent play. You just have to have a lot of defense and offensive options and have ways that you can either control the board. While in modern Yu-Gi-Oh, it's really more based on not letting your opponent play at all, which really isn't that fun, at least if you're not prepared for what deck you're playing against or what the current meta is. I would say modern day Yu-Gi-Oh actually isn't terrible. Like, I still enjoy it. What I get the most joy out of in current format is trying to think out of the box and trying to develop a strategy within today's meta that can help you compete. And really at the end of the day is you're trying to not let your opponent play. But I would say there's a lot of satisfaction in figuring out a combo, intimately understanding your deck and the mechanics of your deck and what to do in certain situations. I would say there's a lot more satisfaction in that. You can more force the type of fields that you can play in modern Yu-Gi-Oh, while before you kind of had the hard draw and be able to get advantage over your opponent. I think I would love for modern Yu-Gi-Oh to still kind of have that flair of developing combos and trying to be able to overtake your opponent, but trying to make it a little more interactive. And I think really modern Yu-Gi-Oh can be interactive. It just really depends on the deck you're playing against and how good your opponent is and how good you are. All right, last question for this video is from Brat Sandio. This question is, as a competitive player, not a vendor, would you always invest in a new set if it has a decent potential, or only if it is something like Rise of the Duelist? Now, I guess it would depend on what you mean by invest in a new set. I would say buying displays or something like that. I wouldn't really call that investment, although I know there's a lot of people that feel modern Yu-Gi-Oh is not investing and all that stuff, and I get that. But if you're buying displays, I would say you're more playing the lottery. It's always better to buy singles. If you're competitive and you want to get certain cards that's coming out of a set, and now if there's a lot of cards that you want to get in a particular set, maybe you buy a case, but honestly, you would probably want to sell the cards that you don't want, help it make it cheaper for you to get those meta cards that you want to get in a particular set by buying the case, keeping some cards, selling the rest. Now that does require a lot of time and effort because you have to open, sort, ship them out. So you kind of have to be a vendor to do that. So in this case, it sounds like you don't want to do that. So probably just buying the singles would be my recommendation. And also if you're buying modern Yu-Gi-Oh, like I said, take into account ban lists and reprints are going to come, which means the cards that you're going to buy are likely going to be devalued within 12 months time at least. So take that with a grain of salt, but that's really kind of what you have to do if you want to play competitive Yu-Gi-Oh and modern Yu-Gi-Oh. Like if you actually want to be winning tournaments, you're going to probably have to just bite the bullet and buy cards, even knowing that they're going to be reprinted or they might be on a future ban list at some point, as long as you're okay with that. All right, guys, but that ends this Q&A discussion. Thank you for all of your support and being here with me on the journey on RogueDuelist Trade. If this is your first time on the channel, stop right now and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you guys don't miss any modern product discussions from me. And also, in order to help the YouTube algorithm and grow this channel, like this video. That'll help people discover this channel and we can help grow it together. Now guys, make sure you follow the instructions I gave towards the middle of this video on how to enter the giveaway. I gave very specific instructions. If you skip through this video at all, make sure you go back. But guys, thank you so much. I look forward to doing another video like this once we hit 10,000 subscribers. And again, guys, make sure you follow me on my other channel, RogueDuelist TV, because once we hit 1,000 subscribers on that channel, we'll do another giveaway and do another type of fun video on that channel on RogueDuelist TV. So guys, thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you on the next video on RogueDuelist Trade.